here's a message to all those Bears fans out there before we get to Sunday night's game against the Chiefs. If you want the Bears to win, if you're rooting for the Bears to win, I have to ask the question, what type of fan are you? Because so many of you so often want to throw that real fan label at people like me, even though I've been watching this team and suffering through all these crappy years, 8 playoff appearances in the past 30 seasons. Last time they won a Super Bowl, I was 4 years old, which was even the first year I started watching this freaking team, and I barely have any memories of it, and I'm older than most of you and been watching for far longer than a lot of you, but by God and believe, even though I adjust my entire life around whatever 3 hours the Bears play every week, I'm not a real fan. The real fans are the suckers and the naive morons that think that anything other than the actual reality is true. They still believe that Mitchell Trubisky could develop into a franchise-level quarterback. They think that Matt Nagy was actually worthy of the Coach of the Year last year and think that he's the right guy. He's just had a rough go. They think that Ryan Pace, the general manager, whose crafty work and his craftsmanship and his knowledge and his performance has produced exactly 1 playoff appearance in 5 seasons, is worthy of sticking around for a 6th one to try and right the ship. Even though you could definitely argue that it should already speak to his general incompetence that it took him 4 years to rebuild a team to even get him into a first-round appearance in the playoffs and get eliminated. 1 playoff appearance in 5 years. Even Jerry Angelo says, that sucks. But you want him to have a 6th one. So you're going to sit there and be like, yay, Bears, let's go, Bear Dodo Sunday. For what? The team season is over. Playoffs not happening. The only thing that can result out of a victory over Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday night are bad things. Bad things. Which could include trotting Hakeem Hicks out there for an entire game and running the risk of him causing further damage and injury to his arm, which we don't need, especially looking ahead to 2020. There should be absolutely no reason to play him on Sunday. I know they're going to, but especially if this is a competitive game, all you do is increase the injury risk for him. All you sit there and do with a guy like Khalil Mack, who already has had a kind of lame-ass, disappointing season, by trotting him out there, is running the risk of some type of serious injury happening, which would defy his previous history. But the way this season has gone, what the hell, it probably could happen. And then it impacts his ability to play at a better level in 2020. You have Trubisky go out there and do just enough to not totally and completely suck, but do enough to clearly once again show you that he's not the dude, but yet so many of you nincompoop moron idiots will sit there and believe that next year will be better and you gotta run with him and If the Bears won this game and Trubisky played half-ass like he's done pretty much all year, then people are going to think, well, they beat the Chiefs. Mahomes. Like you go on and on and on and on and on about all the bad things that could happen out of winning this game on Sunday night. Not to mention the fact that the Bears don't already have their first-round pick because that still belongs to the Raiders. You're talking about your draft position with your second-round pick, and at this point, that's what you got to look at. Just saying. You win, lowers your second-round pick. Lose, and the second-round pick gets a little higher. By God, I know I'm stretching here, but Jesus, crime in Italy, you got to have something to look at. And if you say, well, you don't want to give the Raiders a better first-round pick, what the hell difference does it make? They had 3 first-round picks this year. They're supposed to have their quarterback, and guess what? They ain't making the playoffs either. What the hell difference does it make? The best thing that could happen on Sunday night, the absolute best thing that could happen is that Patrick Mahomes and that Kansas City Chiefs team comes into Soldier Field on Sunday night and lights that ass up. Like 400 plus yards, 4 or 5 touchdown passes. You just need to be able to see the clear and distinct several levels of difference between Patrick Mahomes, future face of the league, potential Hall of Famer, and Mitchell Trubisky, a wannabe Blake Bortles. What better place for that to be demonstrated and showcased than on Sunday night? Because maybe, just maybe, Patrick Mahomes coming in there and lighting that Bears defense up while Trubisky does his normal crappy struggle would finally get the message across to a lot of Bears fans and be like, we could have had that guy in that draft. But our general manager took the other guy that sucks. That's what it looks like to have a real young quarterback. That's what it looks like to have a future face of the league. We could have actually had that guy and not having to give up multiple picks to go from 3 to 2 to get him. Oh, now I get it. And of course that won't happen because you'll still have idiots that don't get it, that will still sit there and give their undying, naive loyalty to this organization that ding-dong dumb dicks 8 playoff appearances in the last 30 seasons indicates they deserve absolutely zero of the benefit of the doubt. And by the way, before you get all gung-ho giggly tits about Ryan Pace, 1 playoff appearance in 5 seasons, even he is running below the historical run rate of playoff appearances as a percentage compared to the past 30 years. 20%! 8 out of 30, at least you can say that's 26.67%. He's even running below that run rate. That's how much he sucks. He got 1 head coach wrong. It sure as hell looks like he got the 2nd head coach wrong. And by God, we can all admit now, can't we? He got the quarterback wrong. How the hell you can't say that when you got Mahomes and Watson in the same draft is unbeknownst to me. The hell do you want to sit there and give him more time for? Everybody involved with the Bears, the fans, players, the coaching staff, the organization, needs a firm smack on the ass on Sunday night. A reminder of what can be versus what is. A reminder of what could have been, but what an incompetently run organization actually delivered. Whereas the Kansas City Chiefs are positioning themselves for the playoffs and potentially looking at making a deep playoff run and maybe even having Super Bowl aspirations. The Chicago Bears and everybody involved are going to be doing the exact same thing all of us are going to be doing, which is watching the playoffs and the Super Bowl on TV. Mahomes needs to go in there and absolutely light him up. This reminds me of way back in the late 2000s decade. If you remember, there was that, I think it was a Sunday night game. It was Romo and the Cowboys against the Bears. And Romo so massively was outplaying Rex Grossman, and the difference was so much night and day that the Bears finally, once and for all, came off of Rex Grossman in that game, and they eventually moved on. Now, of course, because they're idiots as an organization, they traded 2 future first-round picks, a third-round pick, and Kyle Orton to the freaking Broncos for Jay freaking Cutler, perpetuating more of the same problems that they have, but nonetheless, that was a separate decision. The decision was finally made once and for all, based in large part, I always believe, off of how superior Tony Romo was in that game versus Rex Grossman, that it became undeniable at this point. You could no longer be stuck in your own isolated one-game bubble against other teams and so forth. Like, you're going to clearly see the difference between what an elite franchise-level quarterback is and what the Bears have instead. And the reminders of this is the guy that should have been versus the guy that wasn't. You could go on and on and on. It's a big blowout loss on Sunday night that could potentially lead to some of the heads rolling that need to roll here. This is not one of these things where you just stay the course and make a couple of moves here and there, and 2020 will be just fine, because no, it won't be. They got the head coach wrong. They got the general manager wrong. They got the quarterback wrong. What the hell is there to be optimistic about? What the hell is there to sit there and make you want this team to win an absolutely meaningless game when the loss, and a dominant, embarrassing loss, would potentially move the needle way more for the necessary and required changes that must happen in order for this Chicago Bears team to ever be in a Super Bowl contending type of position anytime soon. So some of you naive, drink the Kool-Aid fools can sit there all you want and root this team on Sunday. But all you're doing is contributing to the problem. Come Sunday night, I know what I'll be doing. I'll be rooting my ass off for Patrick Mahomes. Send a message! Embarrass them fools! Let them know what they missed out on and are going to continue to miss out on for the next 15 to 20 years. And maybe, just maybe, if you send a big enough, strong enough, deep enough in the ass type of message to everybody involved with the Chicago Bears, maybe everybody will start to get a damn clue and things will start to change around here.